Hey, it's Pete Checkley here for Sample Library Review, and today I'm checking out Elysium by Wide Blue Sound. With the success of planetary synths Orbital and Eclipse, Wide Blue Sound have released Elysium, which is described as being an inspiring two-layer synth for creating music with spectacular tonal rhythms, movement, and unrivaled playability. Join me as we tiptoe through the celestial void and see where Elysium's motion capabilities take us. Will we be launched straight into orbit or crash down to Earth with a bump? Elysium downloads at 3.4 gigabytes. There are hundreds of deep sampled sound sources. The percussion layer can have up to 3 sound sources at once, while the synth layer can have up to 4 different sound sources at once. There is a phase sequencer with up to 16 steps, comprehensive effects section, there is full NKS support, and it requires free contact player 6.4.2 or above. So here is Elysium. Now before I jump in and play the wonderful sounds it has to offer, I've made a very short demo in the sort of like 80s kind of synthwave style, and all the synths you can hear are from Elysium. Now making a quick demo is probably the best way to understand a new instrument. All of the drums, the sound design and the vocals are taken from different libraries, and let's have a listen.
Dance with me. Be with me. Just breathe. Don't leave me.
So there is Elysium in action. Now I've opened the instrument in the initialize patch, and the GUI, as you can see, is quite big. So I've tried to resize it to get the keyboard in, but it just won't fit. So I'll be scrolling around quite a lot. Now the presets are in snapshot form at the top, and you can see we have arpeggios, atmospheres, basses, combo splits, hybrid instruments, rhythmic elements, and synths. And interestingly, Elysium loads using one NKA file. If you're using Complete Control, you'll have all these presets as NKO files as well, but in Contact, this is how it is. So it's really, really useful. Everything's there. Now, the best thing I can do is turn off the mic and play through different sounds from the different sections, and you get a really good feel for what Elysium can do. So straight out the box, Elysium does sound fantastic. I love the motions it creates, the arpeggios. The motion pads are absolutely sublime, among the best I've ever heard. Now, a lot of you might say, well, that's all very great and fantastic, but it only does motions. Now, that isn't strictly true. So before I go into a bit more detail about the GUI, if you go down on any patch to the phase sequencer, you can see you have percussion and synth. And they all load in with the phase sequencer active. Now, if I want to turn off the two layers, we have a single playable instrument. Okay, now let's say you just want the percussion. You can turn off the synths. Okay, and you get a really cool sort of pluck effect, or you can have just the synths. So suddenly each of these patches now contains playable instruments. So if I go for, let's just say, one at random, let's go warp speed chase. Okay. So I can have just the percussion part. Okay. Or I can have just the synths. So that is a very, very cool feature, and it really expands the instrument. So the GUI looks absolutely great. It's really, really crisp, very clear. It is quite big, there's a lot going on, but it's everything you need really in just a handful of pages. Now, if I go to the top, we have our percussion, which you can turn on and off, and same with the synths. Okay, and then with our percussions, you can change the source, and if you just sort of scroll through, you can see exactly what's available to you. You can search just by mood, and it will start giving you suggested presets, but I'm just going to cancel that. And you can do exactly the same with the synths. So let's say I want a lo-fi synth, put Steam Choir on, it plays you a small preview. And then obviously you click apply if you want to change what you're doing. Now, the controls on the percussion, you have morph, bass, you have your low cut and your high cut, length, level, pitch, flux, analog, and spread. On the synths, you have gain, pan, pitch, cut, and tone for each layer. You could also add one of the 11 different filters. You can turn each synth off or on just by using the planets. So you can hear that changes. Underneath are 3 different controls as pulse, chop, and flow. Now, these will affect how the instrument is sounding. Okay, and then flow. So it's having some very subtle effects, but essentially the pulse will keep it pulsing, the chop will almost like sort of bit it up a little bit, and the flow will just keep it sort of moving quite nicely. On different patches you'll hear different sort of different effects, I guess. And then also you can have the attack, the release, and the detune. So I'm going to go back to pulse. Now underneath you have the phase sequencer. So if I go into the main, really straightforward, you can change the rhythmic denomination. So there's some extreme changes there. On the accents, you can change how everything is accented. So you can just, you know, randomize it, sort of repeat and change sort of where everything goes, I guess. Yeah, and they can bring them up and down like so. So you can hear those accents. Those accents are starting to sort of pop out, which is very cool. You can change pitches. So if I just completely randomize what the synth's doing, it's not going to sound great, I'll be honest. But you can create different melodies and alter the arpeggios to help. So if you're not very happy with the one that you've loaded in, so you love the sounds but you're not too sure about the arpeggio, you can change them there. And then the action, very cool, you can just change certain aspects. I reckon that's a random. Let's fade in. And of course you can change the swing and the amount of steps you're using. Then underneath have the glide, mono, quantize and split if you want. So if you click on the information, it tells you exactly who's made everything, which is always nice to know. And it tells you where the manual is, which if you do get stuck, that's a great place to go. Now the effects section is absolutely great. Really simple. You choose whether it's the percussion, the synth or the master. You just add anything you want. So you can add a shaper, stomp box, and there's a couple of sort of familiar faces, I guess. Actually, we're on there. Let's go in the master. Add a okay, let's just go with a wah. If you want, you can add that to the mod wheel, and there we go. Okay, really straightforward. I'm just going to turn that off, and analog EQ, different reverbs. Reverbs are really, really cool because they've added so many impulse responses. So that's reverb 1, and then the second one you can choose from all those convolution reverbs, and then you have a plate and room, hall and digital, and of course you can just go for a preset which will sound cool. And then tape limiter, absolutely sort of crucial if you want to go for that really, really cool tape effect. And then just going back in, have modulation on the individual percussions and synths. So let's just go back to the main page. Oh no, sorry, the motion. Again, you can control each layer, what they're doing, and you can use a tie page as well and have some really, really cool effects for rising and falling, so you can sweep in and out. Okay, you can see the motion is constantly going. You can turn this on and off. So you can see there are so many different ways to manipulate and change a sound. So we have motions, we have single instruments, and all these incredible effects. So for me already, it's, you know, a fantastic synth and really good value for money. So that's a really quick whistle-stop tour of Elysium and what it can do. Now, the things I absolutely love about it, first and foremost, the motion, the arpeggios, the way it can add movement into your pieces is absolutely fantastic. Out of the box, the presets sound fantastic, but the instrument really encourages you to dive in and experiment. Now, there's a lot going on with it, so I would say there's quite a learning curve. There's still bits here and there I'm not 100% on, but I will be spending a lot more time with Elysium. Now, the other thing I love, while it can do motions incredibly well, you can quickly, with a couple of clicks of the mouse, change every instrument into a playable instrument. There are so many options for different percussions, for different synths. It's just so vast. So while you have hundreds of different presets, you can make thousands and thousands and thousands of different ones. So for me, it's a huge recommendation for cinematic music, for EDM, for ambient music, even synthwave. There's lots and lots of applications. For myself, I'll be using it as a cinematic synth mainly. I can't wait to pair it up with an orchestra and sort of get it to give these pieces some great motion and some great synth effects. So I think if you're a media composer, if you're a just a hobbyist, you're gonna have a great time with this synth. So this comes hugely recommended. Thank you so much for checking out our sample library review of Elysium. Please feel free to give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment down below. What do you like about the sounds of Elysium, or about the GUI, or anything to do with it? Would you use it, and how would you use it in your workflow? Check out our other videos over here on the YouTube channel, and also to read some awesome reviews, pop over to samplelibraryreview.com. Have an absolutely fantastic day and take care.